Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today's Tuesday. We were supposed to do the Blueprint Power Hour, but Rob Register's wife, Jennifer, is having hip replacement surgery. Well, she had it yesterday. She's recovering today. So Rob really couldn't be on the show today, and it's very understandable. I've been wanting to do these episodes of Conversations with Carl where I just get to answer people's questions directly. I have to tell you, this is not going to be my best show because I feel pretty effing horrible today. About 2 hours ago, my stomach started hurting me. I think I ate some food last night that wasn't good. I have a habit of eating leftovers, and sometimes those leftovers were left over a little too long. And my stomach is hurting me so bad. I feel horrible. I tried to vomit. I went in the bathroom twice before the show and tried to throw up. I thought, well, that'll fix it. But I can't. I can't get anything out. So I may not be my wittiest today, but I'll do my best to answer questions. And we have quite a few questions. And also, you can ask your questions live right now. You can post them here. We would like to eventually evolve to where we could actually have fans of the show on the air with me. If we promote this Conversations with Carl in enough time advance to the show, we can send people links to come on StreamYard with me and pose their questions directly. I'm sorry, I have to keep moving because my stomach hurts so bad. We can have people actually be on the show. So we'll probably evolve to that, and probably isn't going to happen today. We just didn't have enough planning and forethought to do that. But you can ask your questions, and I will answer them as directly as possible. And we're going to start right now, before we do anything else, with our title sponsor thank yous, and that's Legendary Food. We're not giving away any more Legendary Food products right now because they have been so back ordered. The demand has been ridiculous, and they've really had to turn up the heat in production. But you can still buy them. I'm pretty sure that everything is back in stock now. For those of you who felt that there was a lot of things out of stock, there was. If you go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10, you'll save 10% off everything, the nut butters, the seasoned almonds, and, of course, the tasty pastries, which are out of this world. If you haven't tried them, you're really missing out. I'm sure we will resume the giveaway at some point, just waiting for Ron to tell me to start it again. Excuse me a second. I have to try to burp. I'm sorry. I feel horrible. I'm going home after the show and getting into bed. You know what? I've always done my show sick. I've done my show when I had swine flu and I lost my voice. I've always done the show. But today, literally a half hour before the show, I was texting with Elisa and Natalie saying, I don't know, maybe I should take off and just get out of here. But I thought I'm going to go home and be uncomfortable. I may as well be uncomfortable on the air and try to get some work done. So here I am. I'll do the best I can. And I'll get all questions answered. Let's go ahead and start with the live questions. First of all, Taylor C says, if you still have your Mito Light blast your gut, blast your gut for 20 minutes. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, Taylor? I'm going to go home and take a fairly large dose of GHRP6 because that will increase digestive motility and move whatever is not right in my stomach out. But I'll give that a try. I'll definitely try that. Patrick Rogers says, have you been able to get in any hunting this year? No. And I just found out that I can hunt pretty close to the house, but it's just not in the cards. Putting way too much time in between Superhuman Radio and my Gunny project, which I'll talk about today. I'll share this with everybody today so they know what's going on. But I have some really exciting stuff that's going to be in the firearm segment. We'll talk about that in a second. Have you spoken to Aaron Singerman lately about his current legal situation? I have. It's not for me to speak out and share what I know. It's for Aaron to do that. Um, I know the whole story. When Aaron was with Blackstone Labs, he was, and they received a letter to stop selling certain products. He wanted to stop immediately. There are other people at Blackstone Labs whose names I won't mention, who continued to sell the product kind of under the radar. And that's why Aaron left Blackstone. Aaron left Blackstone for two reasons. He didn't like the things that were going on there from the standpoint of selling supplements that were banned. He didn't want to do that. In fact, there's a whole email trail that shows that he wanted that to stop. The other thing was he didn't like the direction that Blackstone was going in with all the, booty girls and scantily clad women and all that. Asher was born, and he confided in me that, how is he going to raise children when they're exploiting women on their marketing approach, where it's all about naked women and booties and big boobs and all that sort of stuff. So that's why Aaron broke away from Blackstone. Unfortunately, they pulled him in to this whole thing, which is actually a Blackstone problem. I do know everything up to date. I can't talk about it. I'm sure everybody will find out when Aaron is ready to reveal. But the case is complete bullshit. This is just the government attempting to strong arm a citizen, and that's really what it is. And Aaron has the best attorneys in the world, literally, and I'm sure whatever he decides, he will reveal to people when the time comes. But yes, I'm intimately aware of what's going on, and I just talked to Aaron yesterday, actually. So that's it. I'm hoping him the best. Let's get right to some of these questions, and we'll work our way through. I see Bill Toko is here, so I'll get to him as well. The first question came from Adam Zoll. He says, I'm seeing conflicting information on how to help SI joint pain. I'm curious of your take on a good path to recovery. Seems like I'm seeing promising information on strengthening the transverse abdominal muscles. Let me get the rest of this up. And glutes also is, if the muscles become balanced, will it help fluid build up drain? So here's what I do know about the SI. Way too many people are diagnosed with SI problems that don't have them. The SI joint is the joint in the pelvis that attaches the spine to the pelvis. And the joint is preceded by L3, L4, S1. And there's a lot of back pain that's going on that's being identified as SI problem. Now, I don't know anything about fluid buildup in the SI area. That's a new one on me. I haven't heard of that before. I'm sorry, I got to kind of hit my stomach here. What I do know that helps that whole region is planking. If you get down and get into a plank position, on your elbows and your toes, and gradually hold that longer and longer, you'll find a lot of these problems just disappear. The other thing that helps the SI joint is walking. When you ambulate, the natural process of the lower spine moves, and it actually pulls fluid into the discs and makes them plumper, which a lot of times makes lower back pain disappear. Those two things are marvelous, walking and planking for lower back pain. But I know a lot of people who are being told by, especially chiropractors, that the SI joint needs stem cells, and it's nonsense. A lot of that is just pure nonsense. Strengthen those muscles, as you're pointing out, and you'll find the entire lower back, including the sacroiliac, will normalize. And walking. I can't tell you how important walking is. In about 2008, I crushed a vertebrae, a disc in my lower spine. I'm sorry, I have to keep doing this to really. I did seated shrugs with 405 pounds, and I literally crushed my lumbar spine, which gave me sciatic nerve problem where I developed drop foot on the right side. I had a hard time going from the gas pedal to the brake, walking. My foot used to just slap down. But luckily, I lost my car in my divorce and I had to walk everywhere. And that corrected the problem. Walking is marvelous for the spine. It's possibly the greatest thing you can do for your lumbar spine. If you have lower back problems, start walking and planking. Those two things are golden. So I would suggest that for sure. I hope that one helps. Jeremy Holt says, one, some people say to take vitamin D supplements while others say it's not good for you. I don't know who says it's not good for you. What's your take on it? I live in the upper mid part of the U.S., so it's tough in the winter to get adequate sun. Number two, he says, is some people say that GHKCU is good for you. Others say it oxidized copper, so not good for you. What's your take on this as well? I take 6,000 IUs of vitamin D daily and just started taking GHKCU as well as C60. I'm a big fan of C60. In fact, we have a C60 sponsor coming aboard. Keep up the good work. Thank you. So vitamin D is good, but actually I'm embarking on a project right now with Ron Penna from Quest Nutrition, from Quest fame and now Legendary Food, because there's some things missing from vitamin D supplementation. But I think vitamin D supplementation is good, especially in the wintertime when you're not getting enough sun. I think you can overdo vitamin D. There's people out there that say you take as much as you want. You can never take too much. That's bullshit. I think you should be testing if you're taking vitamin D, and you should keep your vitamin D levels, the 25 hydroxy levels, somewhere between 50 and 80. It seems to be protective against viruses, especially retroviruses, and it's important for overall health. With that being said, I really don't know anybody who's saying that vitamin D is bad for you. It's good. It really is. And everybody should be taking vitamin D in the winter. We know that it prevents you from getting viruses like this COVID virus. So many good studies, including a blog post I wrote back in March of 2020 at the onset of all this. So no, it's a good thing. As far as GHKCU, everything becomes oxidized once it's in your body. It's not oxidized when it's in the peptide, but it does become oxidized once it hits your body. Everything oxidizes in your body. Oxidation is a natural process. I think taking the C60 is a good idea with it, to be honest with you, because that's the single most powerful antioxidant you can take. It's a universal antioxidant. It replenishes everything else. But that's another thing that you can overdo. You got to be careful. Too much antioxidants, not good. Some, good. And I like C60 personally. And GHKCU has some profound benefits. I know you're using it. I think you said that you were using it topically for hair, I think, right? Maybe you didn't say that. Maybe that was somebody else who said that. But it has some really profound effects on genetic switches. It'll actually turn off genes that are harmful and work against aging, and it'll actually turn on genes that are beneficial and will help you with aging. So GHKCU is a good thing. You don't need a lot, to tell you the truth. Yeah, hold on a second. I got to do something. You don't need a lot, and it stings like hell. For those of you who have tried it, you know it stings like hell when you inject it. So just get used to it. But yeah, I like both of those, vitamin D and GHKCU. And 6,000 IUs, if you're dark-skinned, you need more D because you have more D-binding protein. If you're light-skinned, you could get away with 6,000 IUs, and you may get into the 80 nanogram of 25 hydroxy. So you have to test. You have to test. You don't want to shoot in the dark when it comes to vitamin D. All right, let's see. We have some live questions here. Let me get back up to the top. And thanks for showing up. Oh, Peter Rouse says to do Nordic hamstring curls for the SI joint. Good deal. Good deal. So Bill Toko, who is a nutritionist who works with a lot of professional athletes, he says, Carl, have you heard of a peptide called GC1? It's supposed to increase your metabolism like T3, but without raising your heart rate. As you know, I have a heart condition and want my heart rate to stay low. Just looking for alternatives to T3. So first of all, I wouldn't take T3 by itself. You should get Armour Thyroid, 60 milligrams, or Nature Thyroid, 65 milligrams. Thyroid hormone does not necessarily raise heart rate. The reason thyroid hormone works is because it's a mitochondrial uncoupling agent, kind of like DNP, but not as dangerous and poisonous. So very rarely does thyroid hormone raise your heart rate. And if you're taking a combination of T3 and T4, and in the case of Nature Thyroid, actually T1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, because they don't wash it out using a molecular sieve. You should not have any heart problems with that. But you don't need a lot. I mean, just 60 milligrams is all you need. That's more supplemental. It also won't shut down your thyroid if you take those lower doses. But I have not heard of GC1, but I'm definitely going to look into it for sure. Craig Hollander says, you can open the SI joint with ELDOA stretching. I don't know what that is. They're made up of the sacrum, the bony structure above the tailbone and below your lower vertebrae, and the top part, the ilium, of your pelvis. There are sacroiliac joints in both the right and left side of your lower back. But with all that being said, I guarantee you, if you just start walking more and planking, you will strengthen all those supporting muscles in that whole complex. Let's see here. Richard Amelli says, hey, Carl, what's the status of the TRT formula you're working on? Love the show. Yeah, it's coming along. We've had to work really hard to get testosterone-based to solve in an aqueous solution, not an oil, so that it releases faster. And we've been experimenting with several renditions of the product. I've been using it on and off, and it's coming before next. There's some final things to do to it. Patrick Rogers said, a lot of lower back problems are directly related to the weak and very tight hamstrings. That's true. And actually, weak hamstrings definitely, I've learned this the hard way. Weak hamstrings definitely contribute to lower back problem. You don't realize how much stabilization of the posterior chain is being done by your hamstrings. And yes, you're right. When the hamstrings get weak, they shift a lot of the excess work to the lower back. Let's see what we got here. This is an interesting one. Let's see here. So this one comes from, Michael, where'd it go? Irish. He says, he's reading an article on my site relating to small molecule DGA and upregulation of mitochondria via supplements in just 4 days. Would be great if you could get researcher on the podcast, which we will look into. Also, any ideas on how to source? I don't. He's in his 60s like me. It could be a true benefit as first real supplement for older folks. And thanks for any update and really appreciate. So here's my opinion on all these mitochondrial supplements. They're all bullshit. Don't tell Dave Asprey I said that. Mitochondria function is so sophisticated. And we have this illusion that if we have defective mitochondria from years of bad choices, bad lifestyle, that we could just take, I get emails all the time from people about amino M1Q or whatever the hell it is, all these different peptides that are supposed to help the mitochondria function better. I'm getting ready to speak in May at a peptide event. And I'm going to have a completely different angle than anybody else there. And I'll tell you what it is. ARA 290 is an amazing peptide that can reverse small fiber neuropathy. I mean, this is a big deal because everybody in the country has it to some degree. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. But when we did the first show on it a couple of years ago and people used it, no one saw any results from it. You're not going to see any changes in mitochondria function. You're not going to see any changes in nerve function. You're not going to see any changes in anything, no matter what supplement or peptide you take, until you eliminate the cause of the problem that you're trying to reverse. And that takes diet, food, and sleep. We have so many people out there disappointed. Well, this didn't, BPC 157 didn't do anything for me. GHRP6 and CJC 1295. I've been taking it for 6 months and I don't notice anything. Yeah, because you can't take muddy water and put a drop of clean water in it and expect to see clean water. All right, the water just gets mingled into the mud. You're not going to see any changes with any supplements or any peptides until you fix what is breaking you. And 99% of the time, it's your diet and your sleep and your lifestyle. You're not moving enough. You're eating foods that aren't appropriate for you, and you're not getting good quality sleep. You fix those 3 things, and that will be the magic that will make your mitochondria work better. And then if you want to add amino 1MQ or some other peptide that's supposed to improve mitochondrial function, you can add it and you'll actually notice something. But you're not going to notice anything until you fix these problems. And we're all looking for this easy, this is the pharmaceutical mentality, but we're using it now in physical culture and supplements. I want that one pill that's going to fix me. It doesn't exist. The body is so complex. It's insulting to think that we could take something that's going to fix mitochondria. There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. But the reality is that if you just fix the things that you're doing wrong, you probably see more energy and better mitochondrial function. Strenuous exercise increases mitochondrial biogenesis. Doing things that don't clog your mitochondria, foods and products like that, getting proper sleep. These are the things that you're going to find the benefits from. And I know it's like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, I just want to take a pill. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. So Horned Frog 77 in a prior Blueprint Power Hour episode, maybe even from last year, you spoke of a new testosterone delivery. Yeah, we're working on it. It's coming. It will. Let's see. Bob says, I thought that being said, I guarantee you just got walking more. I'm not sure. You just got walking more. You should walk more. Everybody should walk more. Robert Puentes is the patron saint of Casual Friday. It is coming back. I think we actually have one planned. If in a couple Friday, I think it's like December 10th. I think. Bob says, I only take third-party tested supplements because we all know the supplement industry. But that's not even the problem. A lot of these supplements don't do anything. I have friends that are full-blown diabetic. They take berberine. And they expect it to fix them. It's not. You got to change your diet first. It's not just the fact that supplement companies don't produce what they promise to. It's also that we put a lot of trust in supplements to do things that they're not going to do until you fix yourself first. Here's a good aerobic conditioning for mitochondrial function. That's right. Walk more, move more. Yeah, let's see here. Bob says, why doesn't Bioenergizers breakthrough magnesium do third-party testing? I don't know. Why don't you send it off and test it? Do you think that they're hiding something? and it's actually not it's Bioptimizers that you're talking about. But I mean, we're talking about magnesium here. It's not like it's a very expensive, hard to find raw material. So I'm not worried about the magnesium. I mean, we could start testing magnesium coming from Walgreens because they sell it. Where do you draw the line? Let's see here. I'm going to actually take a break. When we come back, we've got more questions and comments. Please post them. I'll get to every one of them, do my best to answer it. And I'm also going to reveal what I've been working on outside of the show. I think people will get a kick out of it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio. Hey, welcome back. Sorry, I had the audio turned off a second ago. I just realized it. Okay, let's get to more questions. We'll get to more live questions first. Let's see here. Let's see here. So, Bob, that was the question about the magnesium. Horned Frog 77 says, "Where do you send supplements to be tested?" We used to send them to a company called Chromadex. They would test anything. I don't know if they still do, because Chromadex introduced NAD plus supplements, and that's become their sole focus. But it used to be Chromadex. But there are companies out there you can you can Google it. You'll find companies that'll test your supplements for you. Al Reeves, listening from overseas, says he said, "Hey Carl, what's your recommended dose for TRT? 200 to 250 milligrams a week of cypionate, testosterone cypionate, or enanthate, and really 200 is probably more than enough. And some people believe you should split that in 2 doses a week so that levels stay more stable. I'm lazy. I just inject once a week, and probably not the best, but I don't have any real side effects from it. I don't have high estrogen or DHT. So, but yeah, 200 to 250 milligrams a week of either cypionate or enanthate will be fine." Bob is on fire. He says, Bioptimizers has a unique magnesium product with all forms of magnesium. Not all, just 7. It's a third party tested. It has sales would go through the roof. I don't know, man. Their sales are through the roof now. It is the single most popular magnesium supplement in the country today in the United States. And they have a money back guarantee. I mean, if you don't like it, send it back. But they do in-house testing. They do that. They have their own mass spec. And so I know they do that. And then Bob says, again, where can you get a supplement like Breakthrough Magnesium tested independently? I don't know. I would start out looking on Google. Aiden Ray says, given the direction of the world, Superhuman Radio meetup still under consideration. I've thought about it on and off for years. Lisa was going to set it up and get it all together. I don't know, especially now with COVID. I mean, I don't know if we'd even be able to do it. I wish we could. I think it would just be fun for all of us to hang out. Maybe in a couple years when COVID is all over, we can actually do that. Okay, so what's your dosage? So Cola Quench says, what's your dosage and frequency of C60? Lots of debate on this online. I don't think anybody knows what the right dose is. There's not been enough human studies. So I tend to believe when a powerful antioxidant like this, you can get away with less as opposed to more because it is so effective. It works so well. I don't know, but we're going to do a show on this very shortly because I did shows on C60 before, but not with real scientists. We're going to do a show about it. So we'll have some answers for you. So stay tuned, I promise. Actually, Dave Rambart, I think I have another question that's already been submitted. I'll get to his in a second. Yeah. People also don't research how to properly take supplements. Some vitamins don't absorb if taken in wrong combination. Others need fats, and vitamin D needs fat. If you take your vitamin D with a fatty meal, you'll absorb a lot more. Yes, you're right. But here's the thing. If you take your vitamin D on an empty stomach every single day and you get tested and you're hitting the mark that you want, then keep taking it on an empty stomach. But you're absolutely right. If you take vitamin D with fat, your body will absolutely absorb it a lot better and utilize it a lot better. There's no doubt about that. AG says, are there any real supplements for ED, or are pharmaceuticals the only thing that really works? You got to find out why you have ED. More and more men are developing ED as they get older because of anxiety. If you get nocturnal erections, nice rigid erections in your sleep, but when it comes time to make love to your partner, you're freaked out because maybe one time you didn't perform right. Those are driven by anxiety. That has to be handled a completely different way. I think that the Phoenix device is effective. It uses that sonic wave to break down plaque in the penis. I also think Kegels. So one of the things that happens to men when they start to get softer, less desirable erections is there's a valve in the base of the penis that shuts down and keeps blood trapped in the penis. And that the muscles related to that, like other muscles, they need to be exercised as you get older. So I'm a big fan of men doing Kegels. I think that it's really effective if you are trying to improve the quality of your erection and you don't want to use drugs. And if you're a vegan, you're going to have trouble with erections no matter what, because you're not getting enough carnitine in your diet. And carnitine has been shown to improve the quality of erections as well. But I don't think you have to use drugs, but that people rather do that than fix their body. You know, I find that when you're cardiovascularly conditioned, you're better at sex. Well, you're better at running. You're better at walking. You're just another endurance endeavor. That's all it really is. But people don't want to do that. They'd rather just take a pill. My favorite supplement to get better sleep is not having caffeine during the day. True story. I do use Delta 8, but I'm actually weaning myself off of it. And the key is just not to use caffeine during the day, and I sleep a lot better. Sometimes it's more important what you remove than what you add in. We're too fast to want to add things in. I do take melatonin. I've taken melatonin for 20-something years now. So I still take that. But I think that I've had a lot of friends who have stopped caffeine and said, man, I sleep so good now. So, you know, if you're trying to cover up the caffeine, Delta 8's a good thing to use. It really works in small doses. You don't need a lot. 2.5 milligrams is an adequate dose, sometimes even less. Peter Rouse says, you really think COVID will be over in a couple years? They need to drag out the scam. You're right. They need to keep us in a state of emergency so that they can do whatever they want to us. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I don't know who this is. I can't see your name, but it just says, and iron with C. So taking iron with vitamin C just makes you absorb more iron. If you're low in iron, absolutely. Taking it with vitamin C will work. That's what they do to kids in countries where they're starving and all they're eating is rice and wheat and grains. In order to extrapolate more iron and get it into their system, they use vitamin C. But if you're high in iron, you don't want to do that. Craig Hollander says, C60 oil caused DNA damage in rats, changed the DNA expression of the lungs and liver. Additionally, sister chromatid exchange and micronucleation occur more often from C60. This can be a source of DNA mutation, even though a study on injecting live mice brains with carboxyfullerene suggested it would be useful to prevent stroke. 20% of the mice that were injected with too much died. Human studies on C60 are lacking, so we don't know much about its potential side effects. And that's why I said I think less is more if you're going to take C60. I think that C60 is very, very effective at quenching oxidative stress, but you don't need big doses of it. And in fact, high doses of any antioxidant is a silly idea, vitamin C or any of them. High iron, if you have high iron, use IP6, best supplement for iron overload. The only problem is there's lots of iron chelators. There's even some pharmaceutical ones, but none of them work as well as just donating a pint of blood every 2 months. It's fast, it's effective, and it has other benefits too. Besides just getting iron out of you, it also gets a lot of other crap out of you as well. Let's see. So here we go. This is a really interesting one. So I did a show, and Dave Rambat said that I had to summarize. This is a really long email, but he was having problems with headaches, migraines, and he says I was still having headaches during the night and waking with a headache most days. Nothing had ever fixed the headaches, and taking Excedrin for migraine worked most days. But obviously, parenthetically, not a good long-term solution. 3 weeks ago, I added ketone salts in with my nighttime routine of Bioptimizer's magnesium, and he says it's amazing, and tryptophan and melatonin. The results? No more headaches, even on days when I overdo it. And so migraines in the 1920s were actually referred to as hypoglycemic headaches because they happened in people when they had very low blood sugar. And it makes sense. Areas of the brain aren't getting fuel, it's not working right, and you get migraines. We did a show with a female scientist. I can't think of her name right now. And we talked about how taking ketone salts. So most people who get migraines, they're warned. They start to sense it. They go, oh, shit, I'm going to get a migraine. They feel it coming on. If you take ketone salts at that moment, the migraine may not even come on, or if it does come on, it's brief and it goes away. And that's because people who develop migraines must have some sort of insulin resistance in areas of their brain. And ketones are an alternate substrate that can be used by the brain as energy, reversing the symptoms of the migraine. Very effective. And yes, you're right. It will keep you from getting migraines, but you need to think about why you're having these hypoglycemic episodes. And you can check your blood to see if your blood sugar is really dropping. And if it's not, then it's the brain that's not able to get glucose into the cells. And that's important to look into, because that could lead to other problems later on in life, including dementia. So I'm glad it's working for you, but you need to discover why your brain is having these hypoglycemic episodes. This one was about Romheld syndrome. I did this show in 2014. It's the most popular show and keeps getting downloaded from our website. So Romheld syndrome is the gastric cardiac connection. Something wrong with your stomach influence heart rate. And what we know about it is if you have leaky gut and it's leaking and getting into the vagus nerve, it will change heart rate, make your ears ring, cause all sorts of problems, tickle in your throat. So we did this show about Romheld syndrome because many people go to the hospital saying that their heartbeat is irregular and something's wrong, and they do all sorts of work on them. They go, there's nothing wrong with your heart, it's in your head. And it's actually the gastric cardiac connection. And I guess Dr. Sanjay Gupta talked about it recently, way after we talked about it on this show. And this person was asking for the supplements, that will help with Romheld. Hold on a second. Sorry. And the number one thing I found that works is licorice root that's deglycerized, glutamine, that will improve the mucosal barrier in the stomach and stop the leakage. And there are other supplements that are good that help tighten the junctions of the stomach we've talked about. But really, the magic in fixing Romheld syndrome is to fix your gut. It really is. There's no way around it. And it takes a long time. You have to stop eating foods that are irritating your stomach. I say give up coffee completely. I predict in years from now, maybe decades, they're going to realize that coffee ruined the population's gut. And it's not just coffee. It's the type of coffee we drink today. Coffee has so much particulate matter in it. It's almost like drinking mud. Those little particles irritate the stomach. They irritate everything. But you got to fix your stomach if you want Romheld syndrome to go away. That's the bottom line. I think we have 2 more questions, and then I'm going to call it a day because I really do want to go home and lay down. I'm going to play this one last commercial break. We have a couple questions. We'll get to them in just a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/mypillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Every day, there's a new wellness trend. Eat that, do this, avoid those. How do you know where to start or who to trust? Inside Tracker helps you cut through the noise by analyzing your blood, your DNA, your lifestyle, and your fitness tracker to provide you with a science-backed, trackable action plan on how to live, age, and perform better. Personalized, one-size-fits-one recommendations to help you optimize you. So head to InsideTracker.com/superhuman today and save $200 on Inside Tracker's ultimate plan plus free inner age and enjoy 25% off site-wide to give the gift of personalized health. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
I feel pretty terrible. I really do. I have such pain in my stomach right now. It just came on like 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. So I'm kind of rushing to get off the air, so I apologize, but I'm going to answer the last few questions here as quickly as possible. Let's see here. So Aiden Ray says, more and more data continues to come out on vitamin D and COVID. You were at the tip of the spear on this. Anything like an update you'd like to add since your early shows on the connection between COVID and yes, I'll tell you what. There's a study that shows that high doses of vitamin D suppresses HIV from replicating. Think about that for a second. Nobody ever talks about it. Fauci never talked about it. So 25-hydroxy stops all retroviruses. There are studies that show that it stops the viral load from accumulating in SARS, in MERS, in HIV, and now SARS-CoV-2. So, and we have a population that's very deficient in D for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're told to stay out of the sun because it causes cancer, and that's bullshit. Sunlight doesn't cause cancer. It's skin cancer. The foods you eat that get into your skin, that when they are exposed to sunlight, become cancer producing, that's what causes cancer. But it's not sun. If it was sun, we'd see higher rates of cancer in Africa, in populations where they're out in the sun all the time. We don't. But yeah, vitamin D is amazing. And the best way to get your vitamin D is actually in the sun. It really is. If you have to, supplement for a while, that's fine. But the sun is the best source of vitamin D and always will be because we evolved. So yeah, I mean, vitamin D is amazing stuff, Aiden. Peter says they can't donate blood there where he is. I think he's in New Zealand. I assume many small towns like where I live don't have the ability to donate blood. I've actually been thinking about learning to phlebotomize myself in the shower. I have a friend who does it, and it's very safe, and it keeps me from having to drive there. Let's see here. Richard Amelli says, thanks for answering my previous question on TRT formula. Opinion on test cream for long-term TRT. You have to use someone from a TRT clinic promoting the cream, but haven't heard talk of it recently. I think the creams are good if they work for you. If you take the creams and you can get into the sweet spot that you're looking for, there's nothing wrong with them. As long as you don't have young children in the house, because you can expose them to testosterone and you can cause precocious puberty in both boys and girls. Yeah, but I don't see any problem with them. They're good. It doesn't work for everybody. It just doesn't work for everybody. Feel better soon, Carl. Thank you. I don't know who you are, but thank you for saying that because look, I've always done my show no matter how sick I was, but I just want to get out of here and go home. I want a nice big shot of GHRP6. I may even take some citrus of magnesia today and just flush myself out. Do you use activated charcoal for your gut? I have it. I've never used it. I do have it, but I don't think it today. I got to get this out of me right now. I tried to vomit. I couldn't. The chemicals people put on their skin, like sunscreen, also, yeah, especially the microparticles of things like titanium dioxide and stuff. Yeah, so Peter is in New Zealand now, Otago, New Zealand, and Queenstown specifically. Thank you for that. So let me tell you about gunning, and then I'm going to go. In November of 2020, Elisa and I were out buying furniture for the new house, and I wear my gun. I don't have it on now, but I wear my gun inside the waistband appendix in the front here. And so when I go to use a restroom, I take the gun off and put it on the back of the urinal so I can unbuckle my pants and do my business. And I do this thousands of times. I mean, this is nothing new. This particular day, I had the stupid mask on. I couldn't see. I was annoyed with the mask. And I went into the bathroom of the furniture store, and I did my deal. And then I left, and then I met Elisa, and we looked at more furniture, and then we went shopping to other places. And then when we got home that night at 10 p.m., I'm getting undressed, and I'm like, oh, my God, where's my gun? And I freaked out, obviously. All sorts of horrible thoughts went through my head. Some kid's going to find my gun and shoot his sister, and I'll be in court for the rest of my life in this litigious country here. And so I called the police department for that small area of town that we were in. They have their own PD. And I said to the police officer, you know, I have a carry permit. I carry my gun inside the waistband appendix. I went to use the urinal, and he finished the sentence. He says, and you left your gun there. I said, well, I think I did. I'm not sure yet. So he sent a patrol car over to the store, and they went in and they looked and they said, no, there's no gun here. I'm like, oh, great. So he says, well, we're going to have somebody call you back so you can file a report, because we got to get this into NCIC just in case the gun is used in the commission of a crime. So you have a record that you lost the gun. I'm waiting for them to call back, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, man, this is not going to end well. This is going to ruin my life. And I was talking to Elisa, waiting for them to call back. And she says, well, we came home at 3:00 to change because it was raining and we were soaking wet. She goes, where did you get changed? I says, in the laundry room. So sure enough. So I found the gun, emergency averted. I called the police department. They said, that's great news. And that was it. I went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up with an idea. I thought, wow, if people are losing their gun like this, maybe there's an opportunity to make a device to keep people from losing their gun. So the short story is I filed the patent. I have the patent. The device is called Gunny. It's a firearm proximity system. And we came up with it. We had to come up with something small. We came up with a Bluetooth beacon that's 6 millimeters square and 1.25 millimeters thick. The battery is 2 millimeters thick. So it's about 5 millimeters thick with the case. We'll have the prototype in hand next week. And you can attach it to the magazine of your gun. You can attach it to the side of your gun underneath the Picatinny rail. And it talks to your iPhone. So if your gun gets 14 feet away from you, your iPhone goes into alarm, tells you where you were when you last had your gun, and then you go back there and you get it. And the premise is never lose your gun, never leave your gun. And we will launch this first quarter of 2022. The app is almost finished. The device is in prototype, and we'll go to production with it pretty quickly. But yeah, that's going to be the focus in 2022. Gunny, a device that will allow you to have as many guns as you know. I have 3 guns that I carry. I don't carry them all at the same time. Sorry, I had a burp. So I have this gun that I carry more than anything else. It's a Smith & Wesson Performance Center. It's hand finished, 45 caliber. And then I have a 9 millimeter, and then I have a 380 that I can put in my pocket. And so I can enroll all 3 of those guns into my app and then just activate the one I'm carrying that day. And if I leave the house without it, it'll say, did you really want to leave the house without your gun? Because it'll have a geofence that identifies the house. I can make a geofence around my office because I do take my gun off at my office, and I have gone home and left it here before by accident. That'll never happen again. I'm really excited about gunning, and I'll introduce it on this show when it's available. We're going to give away some to those of you who carry handguns, and we'll give you access to the app and let you play with it and get your feedback. Mic issues. Can no one hear me? Uh-oh. Yeah, hold on. I don't know. Was everybody able to hear what I just said, or did you hear nothing? I'm just talking really low today. I just don't have the energy to talk, so I'm sorry about that. But yes, we will introduce gunny first quarter of next year, and it will be a thing, and I'm excited about it. And it will serve an amazing purpose because literally tens of thousands of guns are lost every single year. People just leave them somewhere, forget them. No, we have to stop that, and we will. All right, look, that's it for today. I'm sorry I wasn't as good of a host today as I had hoped to be. I just don't feel good. Oh, static. Okay. Well, it should be gone. I don't know. Maybe it's not. All right, look, see you tomorrow. I promise I'll feel better. I'm going to go home and take good care of myself. And everybody have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Take care.